Setting, a cosy room at Abbey Road Studios, mid-1970s. Paul McCartney and John Lennon are sitting on the sofa, casually chatting, but in the midst of a heated exchange. Paul, sipping tea. You know, John, I've been thinking about something lately. You know, with all the talk about racism these days, I've got to ask you, have you ever really considered the way you speak about people? John snorts. Oh, here we go. What now, Paul? I'm not a bloody racist. Paul leans forward, serious. No, I'm not saying you are. But the way you throw certain words around, it's like you don't really think about the impact, mate. John laughs. Oh, for Christ's sake. This again? Smirks. You're out of your mind, Paul. You're imagining things. I think you've been listening to too many of those bleeding activists on the radio, mate. You've gone soft. Paul shakes head. It's not about soft, John. It's about being aware. Just because it's not your problem doesn't mean it's not real. It's about empathy, understanding that the world's bigger than our little bubble. John, rolling his eyes. Empathy, empathy. Bloody hell, you're on your high horse again. Pauses, then with a grin. Tell you what, Paul, you're a bit of a hypocrite, aren't you? Paul, frowning. What do you mean by that? John leans back, smirking. You talk about racism, but remember that time you went nuts on that fan in the US? The one you bashed his skull in? Yeah, I remember. You didn't even care if he was Indian or Native American. You were just having a bloody meltdown. Paul, laughing, shaking his head. Hold on, John. I think he was a Native American, not Indian. John, mocking. Oh, right. My bad, Paul. He was a bloody Native American. But what difference does it make, eh? You still cracked his skull open, didn't you? Paul laughs loudly. All right. Maybe I overreacted, but it wasn't about race. He was just being a bit much, you know? I didn't mean anything by it. I was just frustrated, John. Shakes head, laughing. Frustrated, eh? I'm sure that's what it was. I mean, what would you have done if he was black, eh? You still would have lost your cool? Paul, chuckling. Oh, come on, John. That was a one-off. I'm not a bloody savage. Pauses. But now you mention it, if he was from a tribe, he probably would have understood. You know, all that peace and love stuff. We were in America after all. And they all have this thing about spirits and connection to their land. John, squinting, grinning. Oh, now we're talking about tribes, are we? Right, so you're one of them now. You're some bloody medicine man. Chuckling. What tribe are you joining, Paul? The bloody Beatles tribe? Paul, grinning back. Well, we do have our own kind of magic, don't we? But no, I'm serious, John. Maybe we should be more like those people. They have a whole different way of looking at the world. Respect, honor, all that. John, mocking. Oh, bloody hell, Paul. What are you saying? You want to join a real tribe now? Pauses, pretending to think. All right, tell you what. You join your peaceful tribe, and I'll join mine, all right? Paul, laughing. Oh, I'm sure your tribe's a lot better, isn't it? You probably have, what, a pet elephant or something and all that hippie nonsense? John, grinning. Oh, I do have a pet elephant, mate. And my tribe doesn't just sit around singing Kumbaya. We get stuff done. We write songs about revolution and change. Your tribe just gives everyone a nice cup of tea and a biscuit. Paul, chuckling. Well, what can I say, John? A cup of tea fixes everything. But hey, your tribe's probably good for a few angry rants about the establishment, isn't it? John, grinning mischievously. And that's why my tribe's better. We get things done, mate. You're too busy playing nice. Paul, laughing, shaking his head. All right. I think we both know whose tribe would come out on top, don't we? John laughs. Oh, yeah? Which one? Paul, smirking. The one with the most songs written, obviously. You'll be left fighting for a record deal while I'm over here with Vitz for decades. John, grinning. Oh, we'll see about that, mate. Time will tell. Paul, chuckling. Yeah, it always does. They both burst out laughing, the tension melting away as they enjoy the friendly banter. Paul McCartney. Mate, you remember that time Ringo wanted to skateboard in the studio? It was the weirdest thing. I think it was back in '75, and we were working on some demos. I swear Ringo just pops up with a skateboard and says, "Right, I'm taking this for a spin." And do you know who was there? Donald Trump. Yeah, Trump. He was in the studio with us that day. Don't ask me why, I've got no idea. But there he was sitting in the corner, looking all serious, while Ringo's trying to balance on a skateboard. John Lennon, confused. Wait. Hold on. What? Donald Trump? In the studio? You're having a laugh, Paul. What the hell would Trump be doing in our studio back then? You've got to be pulling my leg. Paul McCartney shrugs. I'm telling you, John, it happened. I don't know what he was doing there, but there he was, just watching Ringo like he was some kind of performance. And Ringo, he's determined, right? So he's zooming around the studio on this thing, thinking he's Tony Hawk or something. Then, bam, he hits the stairs and takes a tumble down the whole bloody lot. Nearly broke his arm. John Lennon laughs. Oh, come on, Paul. You've got to be kidding me. Donald Trump and Ringo Starr in the same room together with a skateboard? It's like a bad dream. What, did he give Ringo a business tip on how to make money while skateboarding or something? Paul McCartney nods. Honestly, I don't know what he was up to, but he didn't say a word while Ringo was flying down the stairs. Just stared at him like it was the most normal thing in the world. Honestly, John, I wasn't dreaming. Trump was there. John Lennon shakes head. Right, sure, Paul. Whatever you say. Maybe you've been hanging out with too many American billionaires, eh? But I swear, mate, you're sounding like you've lost the plot now. Ringo on a skateboard, Trump in the studio. What's next? We find out Mick Jagger's been living under the control booth the whole time. Paul McCartney laughs. Well, maybe. But Ringo did hurt himself. Had to go to the hospital, remember? And no one cared, because they were all too busy laughing. John Lennon. Yeah, I can believe that part. Ringo, falling downstairs. Classic. But the Trump thing? You've got to admit, Paul, that sounds like one of your daft stories. But all right. Don't believe me. I don't care. Just don't ask Ringo about skateboarding, or we'll never hear the end of it. John Lennon, grinning. And if you ever see Trump in the studio again, mate, I'm really gonna start worrying about you.